In this video, I'll show you how to calculate a confidence interval for a population proportion. So our data here is, it's a national survey of 900 women golfers. And the survey found that 396 of them were satisfied with the availability of tee times. And so we're going to estimate the population proportion of women golfers who are satisfied with the availability of tee times. So our sample size is 900. Our point estimate of the population proportion is the number of yeses that we have divided by 900. So that's what this function is calculating. It counts if each cell in this range, whether it says yes, and then divides that by 900. So 44% of the 900 said yes. Standard error is square root of p times 1 minus p divided by n. So that's calculated to be 0.0165. We'll do a 95% confidence interval, so that means alpha is 0.05. Our Z critical value should be familiar. Calculate it using norm.inv, and it's 1.96. And then the interval, as usual, is the point estimate, p bar, minus the Z critical value times the standard error. That's the lower bound. The upper bound is p bar plus Z critical value times standard error. So we're 95% confident that the population proportion is in our interval. So again, I recommend calculating this kind of the long way using the formula like this. Make sure that you understand what's going on. Once you understand what's going on, it's quicker to use XLSTAT to calculate the interval for you. So we'll do a parametric test for one proportion. And again, we're not going to use the testing part, which is using this as a mechanism to get our confidence interval. So this dialog, we fill this out a little bit differently to the previous dialogues that we used. Here, we're not going to put the data in itself. We're going to do a little bit of pre-processing first and then fill in the values in here. So we already kind of did this when we calculated it the long way. We figured out that p bar, our point estimate of the proportion, is 0.44. So I filled in 0.44 where it says proportion, and then the sample size is 900. You need to change the data format down here so it's proportion up here rather than frequency. And then we'll do the Z test. We're not going to use a continuity correction here. That's more for hypothesis testing. We're simply going to do a confidence interval. So under options, we need to make sure that the variance that's going to be used in the confidence interval calculation is using the sample variance. So make sure this is selected here. And then there's different kinds of confidence interval. And the one that we're going to use is the simplest. It's just called a walled confidence interval. And then significance level needs to be set at 0.05 or 5%. And then if I OK that, we get our results. And right in here, here's the 95% confidence interval, 0.408 to 0.472. And it matches what we got here. It's just rounded to 3 decimal places rather than 4, but it's the same interval.